The stars looked peaceful that night over Earth's orbit. Peace was an illusion. Ambassador Elias Tran stood in the middle of Earth's first interstellar diplomatic ship, Unity 1. The ship floated just outside the solar system, near the Council Beacon, where new species were invited into the galactic community. This was supposed to be a moment of pride. Humanity had finally made it. They were going to speak with alien empires, share knowledge, maybe even trade. There had been warnings, of course. Some signals told of wars and threats far beyond Earth's understanding. But humanity believed in hope. They believed in diplomacy. They were wrong, eh? Voice crackled through the bridge speakers. Cold, sharp, alien. This is High Warlord Drenka. Of the Thalrex Dominion, you are not welcome. Turn back, primitives. Elias kept his voice calm. We come in peace, as requested by the Galactic Council's First Contact Protocol. We bring gifts, data, culture, pleas, open communication. Silence, then came laughter. Not one voice, dozens, cold and mocking. It echoed across channels, like someone laughing at a child trying to speak. Earth thinks it matters, said another voice, female, harsh and dry like dust. They still use radiation weapons. Their ships burn fuel. They eat meat. How delightful. A rumble shook Unity 1. Crew froze. Elias gripped the rail beside him as red lights flared. The tactical officer screamed from the console. Multiple warships just dropped out of FTL right on top of us. Alrec signatures. 4 cruisers, 1 carrier. The view screen flickered. There they were. The Alrec ships didn't look like machines. They looked like massive, bone-sharp, angular, black as space itself. Red energy pulsed across their hulls like veins. They moved slowly, but with purpose, like beasts about to pounce. A new transmission came through. This time, with video high. Warlord Drenka sat on a throne of metal and teeth. His skin was dark blue, covered in scales, eyes black and wide. His teeth were needle-sharp. Tell your kind to crawl back to their mud ball, he growled. You are insects. We are the fire. The Earth crew didn't answer. Then the Thalrex began to fire. The first plasma beam cut straight through the Earth. Cargo ship beside Unity 1. The explosion was silent in space, but the light blinded everyone on the bridge. Bodies floated. Hull ruptured. Cry came over the intercom, someone trapped in engineering bleeding out. No response to our hails. Shouted the comms officer. They're jamming everything, even distress calls. Elias slammed a fist on the console. Divert all power to shields. Prepare to retreat now. But it was too late. The Thalrex cruiser began launching pods boarding. Drones. Not to negotiate. To dissect, one pod smashed into Unity 1's side. Metal bent, alarms wailed, red lights spun as screams echoed through the hallways. Then silence. The bridge door opened. Elias turned, expecting one of his guards. Instead, he saw a Thalrex soldier. Standing over a human corpse, blood dripping from the alien's claws. He never even had time to speak. The last thing he saw was the soldier raising its bladed tail end. The screen went black. That was the final broadcast. The entire Earth's diplomatic fleet's 7 ships vanished that day. Not a single survivor returned. Right. Their last signal was a shaky feet of Elias, begging for peace. Before his voice was drowned out by static and screams. Across the galaxy, the footage was replayed on alien networks like entertainment. The humans naive, smiling. Hopeful walked into the council chambers like children at a war council. They didn't even know how outmatched they were, eh? Thalrex broadcast came out 2 days later. A public address. Warlord Drenka sat on a throne of human bones. Real or fake, no one could say. Behind him, the burning wreckage of the Unity 1 floated in space. To the lesser species, he said, let this be a lesson. We do not suffer. The weak? We do not negotiate with monkeys who think themselves equal. He raised a human flag, a simple Earth. Logoan burned it. The galaxy watched and laughed. Humanity didn't respond. Not for a day, not for a week, not for a year. Simply went quiet. Some believed Earth had collapsed. Others believed humans had returned to their planet, ashamed and broken. Most just stopped caring. Humanity became a joke in the council. A meme. A warning tale for new species. Don't be like Earth. Know your place. Alien comedians mocked humans. On stage, they wore human masks and pretended to wave flags before being vaporized for laughs. Young alien cadets in Thalrex academies studied the Earth incident as an example of hubris. The words primitive Earth became a common insult. But while the galaxy laughed, something strange began happening. Over the next few years, Earth stopped all outgoing signals. No trade, no transmissions, no traffic in or out of Sol satellites. Near the solar system detected increased activity, strange energy readings from Mars and Saturn, faint signals of massive construction. But no one investigated. No one cared. Why bother? The humans were broken. Humiliated. On the 10-year anniversary of the Earth's humiliation, popular galactic talk show did a special comedy sketch. A fake human. Ambassador walked on stage, waving a white flag. Behind him, a Thalrex actor crushed a model of Earth with one claw. The audience roared. "Remember, children," the host said, laughing. "Don't invite a chimp to a lion's feast." That night, for the first time in a decade, a new signal came from Earth. It was a simple transmission. Just one sentence. No video, no emotion. "We remember." Most ignored it. Others rolled their eyes, but the Thalrex command didn't. They sent a probe toward Earth. It vanished without a trace. Another probe, gone again. Then a science ship, no return. Only static. Warlord. Drenka grew restless. He authorized a reconnaissance fleet, 3 fast cruisers. It's not for war. Just for observation. 3 days later, they exited warp near the edge of the solar system. They sent one message, then silence. The message was decrypted by council techs. It showed a brief video clip. From far away they saw a fleet, dark, massive. Ships orbiting Neptune. But not like any ships the council had ever built. They didn't shine. They didn't move like machines. They shifted, bent light, warped space around them like shadows that breathed. And then they vanished. Vanished. From all sensors, even gravitational, the last line of the message chilled even the bravest officers. They see us. After that, nothing came out of Sol again, and for the first time since the day they laughed at Earth, the galaxy stopped laughing, because something was building in the dark, and it was watching, waiting. Humanity had not forgotten. They had been humiliated, they had been mocked. But now, they were silent. And that silence was louder than war, because deep beneath the clouds of Jupiter, in the ice tunnels of Europa, inside black domes buried under Earth itself, war was being built. Human. War, and the galaxy had no idea what was coming next. Space around Earth grew quiet. Too quiet. After the Thalrex attack, Earth vanished from all interstellar traffic. No messages. No signals. No ships. Just silence. Many believed Earth had collapsed, that humanity gave up, broken and afraid. Thalrex claimed victory. The Galactic Council stopped watching. Even the data brokers and pirate networks lost interest. But they were all wrong. Earth was not dead. Earth was hiding. Years passed. 10 long, cold years, and in those years, beneath the surface of Earth, something massive began to grow. Deep below. The crust, inside a mountain in Greenland, an old military base came alive. The sign at the entrance read, Project Iron Sun. It had been forgotten even by Earth's own people. Cold War relic turned black site research hub. But now, it became something else. A command center. A womb for war. General Sophia Kane stood. In the war room, arms crossed, eyes scanning rows of holographic screens. Behind her, engineers barked reports. Soldiers moved in silence. Scientists whispered numbers that sounded more like magic than physics. They had no time for speeches. No room for pride. The humiliation had lit a fire inside humanity. Not one of anger, but one of purpose. The Council saw Earth as primitive. So Earth began building technology they couldn't imagine. Sophia walked past a large window. On the other side, a massive engine thrummed with dark blue light. It was a prototype warp core, but not like the ones used by alien empires. This one bent gravity itself, folding space inside out using a new element, Neutronium X mined from Europa's core. Above ground, Earth's cities had changed. At first, people protested. They wanted revenge or answers. But slowly, governments fell in line, not because of fear, but because of unity. The attack on the diplomatic fleet had done something strange. It made humans agree. All nations dissolved. There was now one flag, one command, one plan. The United Earth Defense Assembly. No borders, no parties, no excuses. They had one mission. Never again, in orbit. The moon had turned into a black shipyard. Dozens of orbital rings spun around it. Building warships in pieces, silently, constantly, Mars was no longer red. Terraforming had turned it gray and black, an industrial world. Drones mined its mountains and drilled into its crust for materials Earth didn't even have names for. On Titan, humans built a quantum AI, codenamed Argus, that could control entire fleets with one mind. And under the oceans of Europa, in pressurized domes, they tested weapons that used sound, gravity, and dark energy. Not lasers, not missiles. New weapons. Weapons meant to terrify. But none of it was public. None of it was broadcast. Earth let the galaxy laugh. Let them think humans were licking their wounds. They needed time. Silence gave them that time. General Sophia watched the construction of a ship through her personal feed. It was the first of its class. A warship with no nameplate, no nation, just one title, Valkyrie 1. It was shaped like a blade, long, dark, with no visible windows. Its surface was made of quantum alloy, absorbing all light and scanning waves. It could cloak, bend, and even jump short distances without using warp lanes. It didn't carry fighters. It didn't need them. Valkyrie 1 was a ghost made of metal. In silence, inside, it carried no crew, only AI pilots. Human minds copied and uploaded into machines. Volunteers who gave up their bodies to become weapons. They weren't drones. They were people, warriors, and they remembered the day. Earth was laughed at. One of those pilots was Commander Alla. She had been a junior officer aboard the Unity 1 when the Thalrex attacked. She survived by accident. She had been sick and grounded the day the fleet launched. She never forgave herself for the Thalrex. Now, her body lay frozen in a cryotube inside Iron Sun. Her mind, however, lived inside Valkyrie 1's core. She had become the ship, and she waited for the order. General, Sophia stepped into the main briefing chamber. Screens lit up. A dozen officers stood at attention. Today, she said, marks the final test of the Valkyrie fleet. If all systems respond, we enter Phase 3. Active engagement. Someone raised a hand. Engagement with whom, ma'am? No one knows we're here. We're ghosts. Sophia nodded. That's the point. And our ghosts are about to haunt the galaxy. Down in the Mars shipyard, 4 more Valkyrie-class ships activated for the first time. Each powered by antimatter drives and protected by phase armor, able to ignore most known weapons. They didn't need numbers. They needed precision. Each ship had a single goal: to cut the heart out of the Thalrex war machine, but they had to be tested first. The test would not be quiet. Valkyrie 1 launched first. She didn't take off with fire and roar. She vanished. 1 second she was docked, the next, she was gone, teleported across the solar system in a blink. The ship reappeared near the edge of space. Beyond Pluto. Sensors confirmed. Full functionality. Then, she jumped again straight into the edge of Thalrex space. Not close. Just near enough to watch, she hovered silently, cloaked. Near a Thalrex outpost, a mining station called Kara's Spine. The station was poorly defended. Just 1 escort ship and a few drones. Valkyrie 1 observed them, mapped them, studied them, and then attacked, no warning. A single pulse of gravity crushed the station's core reactor like a soda can. The escort ship tried to turn, but was sliced in half by an energy blade made of compressed magnetism. The entire assault lasted 14 seconds. The station's last log recorded only one message: contact with unknown. Ship is silent. It moves like nothing we've ever seen. It's watching us. It's then static. No survivors. No signals. Valkyrie 1 returned to Sol space in less than a minute. Test complete. General Sophia watched the replay in silence, then looked around the room. No. More hiding, she said. Prepare the fleet. Prepare the message. The officers nodded. A communication was prepared. Not long, just a few words. A warning, a statement, and soon. The whole galaxy would hear it, but not yet. They would strike first. Hard. The plan was already moving. Next target. A Thalrex command. Post near the Orion Gate. But this time, it wouldn't just destroy the base. They would leave something behind. A message burned into the command tower's walls. In human language, 3 words: we are coming. The galaxy still believed Earth was weak. The galaxy believed wrong. Because while the Thalrex laughed, Earth went to war, not loud, not fast, but cold, precise, and unstoppable. The Valkyries were awake, and they remembered everything. Captain Rezik of the Thalrex Dominion sat in his command chair aboard the cruiser Bloodlight. Orbiting a quiet mining colony named Draxus 4, it was a boring assignment. No enemy ships. No pirates. Just silence. He leaned back, tail coiled lazily. Around his chair leg, the humans had been quiet for years. After that one destroyed outpost, the Dominion blamed pirates. After all, who else could it be? Earth was silent, forgotten, still considered. Weak. Until that night. The first sign came without warning, all communications around. Draxus 4 went dark, every frequency jammed. The orbital satellite feed cut to black, then flickered. And then a strange message appeared on every screen: we are the storm. Suddenly, Bloodlight's proximity alarm screamed. Rezik jumped to his feet. Report. His officer shouted, unknown contact. Dead center. Appeared out of nowhere, no warp trail. A dark ship hovered just beyond their viewports. It didn't shine, didn't flash. It was blacker than space. It seemed to absorb the stars behind it. The officer whispered, terrified. It's not on our scanners, but we can see it. That's impossible, ray shields, Rezik roared. Arm weapons. But it was already too late. The strange ship moved, not like any Thalrex or Council ship ever had. It didn't glide, it vanished and reappeared closer. Then again, then again. Then it stopped. Just meters from Bloodlight's hull. No weapons fired. It's just silence. Then came the sound, a low pulse felt in the bones, not heard by the ears. Everything. Metal inside Bloodlight began to shake, then warp, then collapse inward. The hull groaned. Screams echoed. The bridge split in half as if torn. By invisible hands, the last thing Rezik saw was the human flag appearing on the main screen in Earth. Symbol glowing white against black. Then the cruiser exploded. Draxus 4's ground base didn't stand a chance. A second unknown Shippa, twin of the first, descended silently through the clouds. Surface turrets opened fire, but the ship didn't react. The shots passed through empty space. Then the air cracked. A sonic wave burst outward, flattening buildings, vehicles, and people alike. No alien ship had ever fought like this. No sound, no radio chatter. Just surgical destruction above. From orbit, an old Council surveillance satellite picked up the last 5 seconds of the attack. 2 ships, moving faster than physics allowed, targeting key systems only. No collateral. Damage, no survivors. But one message left behind, carved into the bedrock of the mining colony in molten slag: Valkyrie, back on Earth. General Sophia Kane watched the satellite feed with a calm face. She stood in the dark war room beneath Iron Sun. Around her, command officers studied the footage. Some were pale, Others smiled grimly. Their sensors failed. To detect us, one officer said. We move through 3 systems without tripping alarms. Confirm stealth protocols at 100%. Good, said Sophia. Phase 3 complete. Across the solar system, the rest of the Valkyrie fleet came online. 8 ships now, each more advanced than anything the galaxy had seen. Valkyrie 1, 2, Valkyrie 8. No crews, no heat signatures, no warp trails. They were ghosts. And they were. Ready Commander Alaro, the pilot mind of Valkyrie 1, watched the destruction of Bloodlight from her war screen. She didn't blink. She didn't feel joy. She only felt ... purpose. These are not battles, she whispered inside the code of her ship. These are messages. Earth was speaking now, and the galaxy was finally listening. Within hours, news of Draxus 4's destruction spread through underground channels. Most believed it was an accident, a reactor failure, a pirate strike. But then, 3 more Thalrex outposts went dark, then a scout fleet. Each time no warnings, each time the word Valkyrie left behind. The council demanded answers. The Thalrex blamed rebels, smugglers, everyone but Earth, because Earth couldn't do this, could it? On a border world named Corin's Spine, a retired Thalrex admiral named Velra watched the footage carefully. He had fought humans during the first humiliation 10 years ago. He remembered their soft voices, their pleas for peace, their weakness. But now something had changed. These aren't pirates, he told his aides. This is a ghost war. Played the footage again. Ships appearing without warp, weapons that left no heat, precision strikes, surgical kills, ecological warfare only. One species hated the Thalrex this much. Only one had a reason to strike like this. Get me Earth's last known coordinates, Velret ordered. We need to talk to the monkeys. His aide laughed. Rod didn't. That night, another fleet vanished. This time deeper inside Dominion space. 2 destroyers and a refueling station gone. In their place, probe was left behind. Council techs retrieved it. Inside was a simple video. It showed Earth, not the blue. Green Earth from before. This Earth was covered in black domes, orbital rings, moon-based shipyards, Mars covered in steel. Human ships moved like insects around a hive. But it was not the visuals that shocked them. It was the sound. A human voice. Female, calm, cold. You wanted war, she said. We studied you. We copied you. Then we built something better. The voice paused. You thought we were gone? You erased us. You were wrong. Final words. We are Valkyrie. And we do not forget. Then static. The council held an emergency meeting the next cycle. All major empires attended. The Thalrex denied any weakness. They still claimed superiority. But fear was in their eyes. The chairwoman of the council asked a simple question. Is it true? Are the humans back? No one answered. In truth, the answer didn't matter, because across Thalrex space, fear was spreading. Ships refused to patrol. Miners fled border. Worlds, stations, locked down in terror. The laughter was gone. The mocking ended. In its place came whispers of shadows in the stars, of ships that couldn't be seen, of war without warning, and everywhere that silence passed. Only one word remained, Valkyrie. Earth hadn't just returned. It had evolved, and now it was their turn to watch the galaxy burn quietly, one system at a time. In the Galactic Council Hall, located deep within the golden towers of Virel Prime, leaders of 50 different species sat in silence. The room, usually full of voices, jokes, and political games, now felt heavy, thick, fearful. They had all seen the broadcasts. They'd all read the silent reports. They knew the rumors. But none had dared speak it aloud until now. The humans were back, and they weren't asking for a seat. They were coming to take one. The Thalrex, Warlord Drenka, sat, tall in his massive chair, flanked by 2 armored guards. His scales glistened under the chamber lights. His voice, as always, was sharp and proud. "These are lies," he growled. "Old enemies and rebels trying to shake the balance.
Oh, yes. Case.
We crushed the humans 10 cycles ago. They died out, forgotten. These attacks are tricks, pirates, machines, not Earth." But no one responded, because deep inside, they knew. The footage didn't lie. Dozens of Thalrex outposts destroyed in seconds, ships torn in half without a trace, Valkyrie messages burned into stone, steel, and data cores. And then came the signal. It reached every major planet, outpost, and fleet across the galaxy at the exact same moment. Not a message, not a warning, a live broadcast. The screen was black for 3 seconds. Then the face of a human appeared. Female, pale skin, shaved head, black uniform, cold, unreadable eyes. She stood on a raised platform, behind her the void of space. Orbiting a planet that wasn't Earth, dozens of ships floated behind her. Silent and deadly, she looked into the camera and began to speak. "This is Commander Ella Rowe, Valkyrie Command, United Earth Defense Assembly." Her voice was steady, mechanical, almost too calm. 10 years ago, we reached out to you with hope, trust. You murdered our people. You laughed at our pain, and then you turned your backs. She paused, so we disappeared. We watched, we listened, we learned. And now the camera widened. Behind her, a planet burned. It wasn't Earth. It was Verkar, a Thalrex colony of 8 million. The fires danced across the screen. Silent. "Today," Ayla said, "Earth returns." She raised one hand. Fingers snapped. A massive ship passed behind her. Black and curved like a blade, its engines glowing with blue fire. It moved past the burning planet, then vanished. No jump flash, no energy signal. It simply blinked out. "Today," Ala said, her voice like a knife. "We declare war." The feed cut. Gasps filled the council hall. No one spoke. Not the insectoid diplomats of Zazari. Not the gas-based life forms from the heaviest clouds. Not even the machine hive from Sector 9. They had felt something unusual. Not fear of war, but fear of Har. Precision. Humans weren't attacking planets at random. They were choosing them, targeting as key supply lines, breaking the Thalrex one nerve at a time, and leaving no witnesses back in Earth's solar system. Iron Sun was now fully activated. The entire moon had become a fortress. Every ring, satellite, and station had guns, shields, and AI-controlled turrets. On Mars, new Valkyrie ships were being built every week. Not in thousands, just a few. But each one was worth a fleet. General Sophia Kane stood before a giant tactical screen, watching real-time data as her ships moved like wolves across the map. Red dots, the Reg's worlds, vanished, one by one, each. Strike took no more than 10 minutes. Each left behind only one symbol, Earth's flag, burning blue against the stars. She turned to her commanders. "We hit them. They deny it. We destroy their fleet. They blame rebels. We burn their world, and they call it coincidence. Fine. Let them deny, till there's nothing left to deny." A young officer stepped forward. "Ma'am, Dalrex response forces have formed a task group near the Hadros Spine. 15 warships. They're waiting for us." Sophia's eyes narrowed. "Send Valkyrie 6 and 7. The room fell silent. Both. Those ships were new, still untested in real war. The officer hesitated. "Both. That's only 2 against 15 ships." Sophia smiled, thin and cold. "Exactly." Aboard Valkyrie 6, the pilot Captain Elijah Stone sat in a dark cockpit that didn't really need him. The ship could fly itself. But it needed a mind, a soul, a human touch. He looked out into the stars. A whisper echoed through his mind. "Begin mission," said the ship's AI, target locked. 15 Thalrex warships floated in a defensive wall near a gas giant. They were ready, trained, armed, They had no idea what was coming, Valkyrie. 6 and 7 dropped from stealth mode 200 kilometers away by the time the Thalrex picked them up. The first destroyer was already going to split in half by a graviton. Ripple, panic, Thalrex, ships fired in every direction, missiles, plasma, railguns, nothing. The Valkyries blinked in and out, dodging fire like they could see the future within 4 minutes. 10 ships were destroyed. The remaining 5 tried to flee. They didn't make it. The final Thalrex cruiser sent a distress signal as it died. The message was intercepted and rebroadcast. The words were clear. They are not ships. They are death. The galaxy felt that message. Even those far from war began to wonder, what if Earth didn't just want revenge? What if Earth wanted control? Back in the council hall, species once proud now began to shift in fear. The humans had done something no other species had ever managed. They made the Thalrex bleed, and they did it without warning. Without permission, without asking, the council tried to send a message to Earth. It bounced. They tried again. No reply. Then, after 3 days, Earth sent their own message. A simple digital file inside. Footage played. It showed the council chamber. 10 years ago, when the Thalrex destroyed the Earth delegation, it showed the laughter, the mocking, the burning of the Earth flag. Then a voice played over the Thalrex, a man's voice. Deep, old, it said. You laughed. You called us insects. You showed us your true face. Now let us show you ours. Final line. You should have killed us all. The file ended, and so did the laughter. From that moment, Earth was no longer ignored. They were no longer mocked. Now the question whispered across the galaxy was not, can we stop them? But what happens if we can't? Humans had declared, war, not just on the Thalrex, but on the old order, the old balance, the old lies, and the galaxy trembled. The world of Threxia Prime had never known fear. It was the heart of the Thalrex dominion, called by many the God World. It's not because of religion, but because of power. It was the first planet the Thalrex had settled. It's covered in mountain-sized statues, temples of bone and steel, and vast cities built into living cliffs. It was the symbol of their rule. No alien had ever stepped foot on it. No enemy had ever reached its orbit. Its orbit held 15 battle stations. Its skies burned with plasma shields. Its underground vaults held secrets older than most stars. To attack it was madness, which is exactly what humanity did. The first sign was nothing. No signal, no flash, no fleet. Just silence, one by one. Threxia's outer sensor satellites went dark. Then the communications tower stopped working. Inside the Grand Temple, structure the size of a mountain, High Priest General, Raxer looked up from his sacred table. His claws trembled. A cold wave moved through his scaled back. Impossible, he whispered. This world is sacred, protected. An alarm rang across the city. The planetary shield flickered. The lights dimmed above. The sky cracked like glass. People ran into the streets. Soldiers took positions. Giant warwalkers powered up, but they didn't know what they were fighting because nothing appeared. Not on radar, not on visuals, not in orbit. Just an echo. A soft pulse that came every few seconds. Like a heartbeat. But it was inside the planet, under. Their feet in the old vaults, places sealed for 1,000 years, strange sounds echoed. Doors that had never opened began to hum. Systems untouched for generations began to blink to life. The Valkyries were not attacking from space. They were already here, long ago. During the years of silence, humanity had learned how to bend gravity, how to tunnel through rock silently, how to implant weapons miles beneath, the ground waiting, patient, hidden. While the galaxy laughed, they had slipped onto Threxia itself, and now they were waking up. The first explosion came from the core of the temple, a scream of metal fire, and light ripped through the ancient stone. The statue of the first warlord shattered, pieces falling onto the fleeing crowds. Then came the second blast beneath the war vaults, then a third under the shield generator. Each explosion was not just meant to destroy. They were surgical, specific, timed. Within minutes, every defense system across Thyrexia Prime was offline. Then, the Valkyries arrived, not in ships, in pods. Black pods the size of a truck fell from orbit in total silence. They didn't glow, they didn't burn. They simply appeared, dropping through holes in space like shadows. Each pod opened. Inside, one human, not soldiers in armor, not machines, but commandos in black skin suits, faces calm. Each carried a weapon no one had seen before, a blade of sound, a gun that bent air, a drone shaped like a snake. They moved like ghosts. The Thalrex defenders opened fire. Missiles, lasers, claws. But the humans didn't fight in lines. They fought like lightning. Hit, vanish, hit again. By the time Thyrexia's high command knew what was happening, 5 major temples were already burning. Back on Earth, General Sophia watched the live feed from space. A stealth drone above Thyrexia streamed footage. She said nothing. She just watched then. She gave the order. Phase 5, psychological break. On Thyrexia, every screen, every holosign, every public broadcast suddenly changed. The same video played everywhere. It showed a Thalrex commander 10 years ago, standing over a human ambassador, laughing. Then it showed a human commando now, standing over a Thalrex general, silent, no sound, just image. Then one sentence appeared across every building and screen. We remember. In the council hall far away, chaos broke out. A dozen species demanded answers. Some screamed. Others begged. This is going too far, one said. You can't burn a homeworld. But Earth didn't answer. The broadcast continued. By nightfall, Thryxia's capital city had fallen, not destroyed. Taken, human commandos raised. A black flag over the temple ruins. The flag didn't carry a nation's symbol. It had only 2 things. A blue earth, glowing in and a word beneath it. Valkyrie warlord Drenka wasn't on Thyrexia. He watched it all from his war chamber, deep in another system. He punched the screen, roaring, "We'll crush them, wipe them from the stars." But even his generals didn't believe him anymore, because they saw what the humans had done. Not with numbers, not with fleets, but with silence. With planning, with cold, perfect revenge. For the first time in his life, Drenka understood the truth. The humans were not primitive anymore. They were something else, something worse. They were focused, and they were angry, he whispered to himself. We should have finished them. Back on Thyrexia, Alaro stood alone at the top of the broken temple. Her body wasn't there. It's just her projection. It's just the mind of Valkyrie one now, but she felt the heat, silence, the weight of justice. She opened a channel public open. It's unstoppable. All species could hear it. She said only this: we were not your equals 10 years ago. She looked into the camera, but now, behind her, Thyrexia Prime burned. We are your gods. The feed cut, and across the galaxy, no one dared speak. Because now they understood. The humans weren't coming, they were already here, and they were not finished. Virel Prime, home of the Galactic Council, was drowning in fear. Inside the great circular chamber, alien leaders shouted over one another. Holograms flickered. Transmissions from fallen Thalrex worlds played behind them, Valkyrie symbols, black flags, cities in flames. The fall of Thyrexia Prime had broken something deeper than strategy. It had broken certainty. For centuries, the Council had believed in a simple truth. Power meant safety. The bigger your fleet, the louder your voice. But Earth had never spoken loud. Earth had whispered, and still everyone heard it. Council Chairwoman Lorison, an elder, from the Avani Star Republic, raised a trembling hand. The room slowly fell quiet. This cannot continue, she said. Earth is out of control. If we wait, they'll destroy everything. She looked toward the Thalrex seats, now half empty. The delegation had vanished. Cowards, I propose immediate action, she said. A coalition fleet. All council species. We go to Sol. We end it. Some nodded. Others hesitated. They won't negotiate? Someone asked. Another alien answered, they don't want to negotiate. They want to erase history. But they were wrong. Earth didn't want to erase history. Earth wanted the galaxy to remember it correctly. That same night, the vote passed. A fleet would launch, not a small one, the largest in Council history. 182 ships, 20 species. One target. Earth back in the solar system, General Sophia Kane stood atop the lunar command tower. Below her, the black rings of the moon rotated silently. Preparing every defense, she had known this day would come. She'd planned for it. The Valkyries weren't made for defense. They were assassins, not shields. But Earth had other weapons, new ones. Status? She asked. An AI voice responded, echoing in the tower. Lunar rail network fully charged. Defense array is online. Neptune pulse is stable. All. Deep mines sealed. Valkyries, holding position, and Project Eclipse, active. The AI replied, ready for detonation. Sophia smiled thinly. Let them come. The Council fleet dropped out of warp at the edge of the solar system. 182 ships. Dreadnoughts, cruisers, carriers, even planet-crackers. They expected resistance. They saw nothing. Empty space, no Earth ships, no. Response, just silence. The fleet commander, Admiral Drek, of the Coloan species, ordered the ships into formation. Advance to Mars orbit, he said. Keep weapons charged. Still, nothing then. Movement. But not in front of them, behind. Thousands of microsatellites blinked to life across the asteroid belt, each one barely the size of a human backpack. They activated together. One purpose: confusion. A cloud of fake signals, jamming waves, and ghost echoes filled the system. The Council fleet's sensors went blind. Interference. A bridge officer shouted, "Can't see past Mars? Switch to backup optics now?" It's too late. Mars lit up. The entire surface flashed white as buried emitters activated. Not weapons, mirrors. Massive, orbital-scale mirrors. Hidden for years in the Martian sands, rose and focused the light of Sol. One by one, the Council ships caught the full blast, blinding, burning, searing their sensors and optics. Shields overloaded, and then came the Valkyries. Not in a wave one, by one. They blinked into existence like ghosts, not around the fleet inside it. They had warped into the center of the Council, Armada. Valkyrie 1 through 8, 8 ships. 8 mines, each carrying weapons designed to break. Capital ships in a single strike. Valkyrie. 2 fired a gravity, lance-ripping a dreadnought in half. Valkyrie 5 used a distortion field, pulling a cruiser into itself until it vanished in 2. A singularity. Valkyrie 7 simply flew through enemy ships at impossible speed, slicing them like air. The Council fleet panicked. Ships turned. Fired wildly. Friendly fire ripped through their own lines. The humans said nothing. Not a word. Not a broadcast. No demands. Just destruction. Back on Earth, every city went underground. Civilians had been trained for this moment for years. No one panicked. Everyone knew this was coming. They didn't wait for orders. They trusted the plan. High above, the Project Eclipse device finished charging. A sphere the size of a small moon. Not a weapon. Not directly. It was a switch. One press, and the entire system dimmed. Artificial darkness fell across the solar system. No visible heat, no light emissions, no signals to the outside galaxy. Earth disappeared, and then reappeared, closer than anyone thought. The Council fleet never had a chance. Of 182 ships, only 9 survived. They limped away into deep space, burning, broken. Silent at the edge of Council space, survivors gathered, said the same thing. They let us live on purpose. And it was true. Earth didn't want total genocide. They wanted memory. The council had made a mistake. They had come to Earth thinking humans would fight like other species, that they'd stand in front, make speeches, bleed slowly, but humans had learned not just how to survive, but how to set traps. And Earth had set this one 10 years ago. The council just walked right into it. Inside Valkyrie 1, Ayla Rowe stood at the viewing chamber. She watched the last enemy ship jump away. She didn't feel proud, just satisfied. Next phase? The ship's AI asked her. She answered with one word, message. And across the galaxy, screens lit up again. A transmission played on repeat. In every known language, it showed Earth, now silent, dark, powerful. Then Ayla's voice, you sent your best. We sent 8. Next time, we won't send ships. Pause. Then the Earth flag appeared. Beneath it, the final words. The galaxy judged us. Now we judge back. In every system, species that had once mocked Earth turned their heads. No one laughed. Anymore, the question now wasn't if Earth could win. The question was, who's next? It started on a backwater mining moon called Kelvernine. No one paid much attention to it before, just a rocky lump in space filled with tired workers and broken machines. The Thalrex used it to strip resources for their fleet. Guards patrolled it like it was a prison. Until one night, a single Valkyrie drone landed in silence. It didn't fire. It didn't destroy anything. It played a video. The workers dropped their tools and watched. It showed the Council fleet burning in Earth's orbit. Then it showed Ayla, cold eyes, calm voice. They said we were weak. We were patient. Now we are free. You can be too. The message ended with 3 words. Rise with us. No orders, no threats. Just a choice. The next day, the Thalrex garrison on Kelvernine was dead. Not by Valkyries, by the workers. The guards were overpowered. The flag of the Thalrex Dominion was pulled, down and burned. In its place, someone painted Earth's flag on the wall with mining dye blue and silver, glowing in the dark. The uprising had begun. In less than 2 weeks, 50 more colonies followed. Not all were Thalrex. Many were run by other council. Species smaller empires. Second-tier powers that ruled with fear. But something had changed. People weren't afraid anymore. Not of the council, not of the fleets, not of the old rules. They had seen something different. They'd seen Earth, a planet that stood alone and fought back. They'd seen the Valkyries, and in them they saw a future, a new order. Prime, chaos, returned. The council couldn't control the news. Their channels were hacked. Screens across the capital glitched and flashed with underground videos of the uprising's miners arming themselves. Soldiers refusing orders, prison. Worlds breaking free. And everywhere the same graffiti appeared. Earth was right. Some called it propaganda. Others called it prophecy. In hidden bars, smugglers and rebels toasted to Alaro. Black markets now sold fake Valkyrie helmets. Children painted Earth symbols on walls. The council tried to respond. They launched ships, sent squads, deployed propaganda, but nothing worked. Because now, no one wanted to fight Earth. Even some council commanders began to hesitate. One by one, officers went silent, or worse, defected. Back on Earth, General Sophia Kane stood in the moon tower, watching the spread of rebellion on a giant holographic map. Every hour, more dots turned blue. Scientist entered, holding a data tablet. Ma'am, the projections were wrong. The uprisings are spreading 10 times faster than expected. Sophia raised one eyebrow. Do we stop it? No, said a voice behind them. Rowe appeared on the screen, her face flickering. From Valkyrie 1, we let them burn it down. She leaned closer. They built this galaxy like a cage. We're just giving people the key. In the Thalrex space, things were worse. Warlord Drenka's empire was crumbling. He'd lost Threxia Prime, 5 outer systems, and 3 major fleets. Now, his own people were turning against him. They weren't human. They weren't even allies of Earth. But they'd seen what humanity had done. They knew the old gods could bleed. Entire clans abandoned the war. Some even opened secret channels to Earth, begging to surrender. Drenka stood in his war room, pacing like a beast trapped in its own lair. "How is this possible?" he roared. "We own the stars." His generals stayed silent because they knew. Didn't own anything anymore. Not power, not fear, and certainly not the future. Meanwhile, in a hidden station near the galactic core, something new was forming. A secret gathering. Representatives from 30 species. Rebels, dissidents, broken warlords, freed prisoners, even some quiet council. Defectors, they called themselves the Free Systems Accord. And they had only one question: what does Earth want? It was no longer about fear, it was about alignment. Everyone could feel the shift. The balance of power wasn't just shaken, it was collapsing. Old empires were falling. Something new was rising. But what? Would Earth rule the galaxy? Would Valkyries replace council fleets? Or was this just the beginning of something larger? They sent a message to Earth, not through official channels. Through the undernet, an ancient pirate network that no AI could trace. The message was simple. A signal. One word. Talk. Back on Earth, Sophia Kane received it. She stared at the message for a long moment, then turned to Isla's hologram. "They're reaching out." Isla tilted her head. "Not out of peace." "No," Sophia agreed. "Out of fear, silence." Then Ayla nodded. "Let them come." At the edge of the solar system, a small, unarmed shuttle appeared in space. It carried no flags. Inside were 5 envoys. They weren't leaders. Weren't even diplomats, just people, willing to ask the question no one had dared ask for 10 years. What does Earth want? They were taken to the moon, blindfolded, scanned, questioned, then brought before a large black chamber. Inside stood General Sophia Kane. Beside her, Ayla Rowe, projected from Valkyrie 1. No chairs, no smiles, no introductions. Sophia spoke first. "You came to speak, so speak." A short alien with green eyes stepped forward. His voice was soft. "We want to survive." Ayla studied him. "We survived," she said, "alone, buried, mocked. Then we rose." She took one step forward. "And now you all come, asking what we want." The envoys held their breath. Allah looked at each of them. "We don't want tribute," Sophia added. "We don't want power." Ayla's voice turned sharper. "We want change, real change." She leaned in. "No more slave colonies, no more puppet systems, no more laughing at those who ask for peace." She paused. "You can join us, or you can stand in our way. But know this," she raised her hand, and behind her, a screen lit up showing hundreds of Valkyrie ships, now in orbit around dozens of newly freed systems. "We are no longer asking." The envoys left in silence. They had no power to agree, no permission to sign treaties. But when they returned to their people, they said one thing: Earth is not taking over. Earth is pulling us out. And across the stars, the message spread. The age of empires is ending. The age of Earth is beginning, not as rulers, not as conquerors, but as reminders. That even in the vast cold of space, no one forgets being humiliated. And some come back stronger than anyone ever imagined. The uprisings weren't over. The war wasn't done. But now, the galaxy faced a terrifying truth. They weren't fighting for Earth anymore. They were fighting with it. The skies were quiet, too quiet, in the ruins of the old council hall on Varel Prime. Dust floated through shattered light. The golden walls were scorched. The banners of the great empires had fallen, torn, and forgotten. The long table where alien rulers once argued now lay broken, split down the middle. Just like the galaxy, no one ruled here anymore. There were no meetings, no votes, only echoes. And then Earth came. Not with warships, not with Valkyries, but with words. A single message. Broadcast across every known system, in every language. The old order is dead. A new path begins. The image flickered to life. General Sophia Kane stood tall, dressed in black, her eyes cold as the void. Beside her stood Ayla Rowe, Not just the mind of Valkyrie one anymore, but the voice of something greater behind them. Earth's flag, blue, silent, bright as a new sun. Sophia stepped forward and spoke. You called us weak. We were once. You laughed at our peace. We paid in blood. But we adapted. We endured. We evolved. Letting silence stretch across the stars. And now, we invite you. Gasps echoed across every world watching. Allah spoke. Next, her voice calm and focused. This is not a demand. This is a choice. A union. A new alliance not built on fear, but on fairness. It's not on old names, but on new voices. A second screen lit up behind them. It showed Mars, then Luna, then the Saturn rings now, covered with stations, greenhouses, ships, then Earth itself. Not in flames, not in ruins, but alive. Cities covered in green, oceans bright, skies clear and ships so. Many ships moving like stars in orbit, working, building, protecting. Allah continued. We offer you technology, trade, shared defense, freedom. She looked directly into the lens. But know this. Never again will humanity kneel. The galaxy reactions exploded. On slave worlds, cheers broke out. On mining colonies, workers raised the Earth flag, shouting in joy, even inside what was left of the Thaurex dominion. Scattered soldiers dropped their weapons and walked away, because the truth was clear. Humanity had won, not just a war, not just revenge. They had reshaped the very idea of power, not with numbers, but with will, with silence, with unity, and with patience. The galaxy had mistaken for weakness. But not everyone accepted the new future. In a dark corner of the galaxy, deep in the debris fields of the old Council armory, a fleet of exiled ships gathered. Rogue commanders, survivors of shattered empires, fanatics, who could not imagine a galaxy led by humans. They called themselves the Remnant, and they had one plan: to strike Earth when it opened its arms, to stop peace before it began. They moved fast. Silently, tactically. The attack came just 3 days after Earth's broadcast. 8 warships jumped into the solar system near Saturn. Their mission: reach Earth. Destroy the leadership. End the dream. But Earth had learned. The Valkyries were already waiting. Valkyrie, 1 through 10. Faster. Smarter. Evolved. The Remnant didn't make it past. Neptune, the final ship, tried to run. It was allowed to escape. It carried one final message beamed. To every dark place where old empires whispered, Ayla's voice soft but unshakable. We offered peace. You chose war. Now you are hunted. Weeks passed, then months. Something strange happened. Nothing. No more uprisings. No more battles. Just silence. And slowly, peace. Not the peace of fear, the peace of respect. Earth had sent ambassadors. Scientists, translators to systems that had once shunned them. They built schools on moons that once held prisons. Gave energy tech to mining worlds. They opened trade routes through black holes. And most important of all, they listened. Because Earth didn't just rise for itself. It rose for everyone who had been mocked, used, forgotten. Years later, a monument stood where the council hall once crumbled. It was not a statue of Earth. It was a giant mirror, polished, silent at its base. A plaque read, "Never forget what we become when we stop listening." And on a distant moon, beneath a sky full of stars, a small alien girl looked up at her teacher and asked, "Who were the humans?" The teacher smiled gently. "They were the ones who lost everything. They were the ones we laughed at. They were the ones who came back. Pause and changed everything." In the end, it wasn't Earth's weapons that changed the galaxy. It wasn't even the Valkyries. Older, the stronger, the human refusal to give up. They had been beaten, they had been erased, but they never stayed down. And when they returned, they didn't just fight back, they rewrote the stars forever.